Suck with much bravado. Don't you know? You don't have to lay down your only life. I need you here tomorrow. Is martyrdom the only philosophy? I can set you free from all that seems to bind. Years ago, you threw the key into the darkest nights, then hit the light to follow.
Hello, and welcome, and thank you for sitting with us again under the aNvKai tree. I'm your host, Mick Sykes, and I'm here
with Jip Jack on the attack.
And today's episode is about another episode in our Decolonize series, and we're doing Decolonize Your Sex. Yes, y'all. Thank you for joining us. As always, remember to share this post. Shares go really far. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your boss, whoever. Make sure you like this post. Likes and loves go really far, so make sure you like this post. And make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that way you know anytime we post a new video on this channel. We got a great discussion for tonight. I'm really excited about this. I know it's Memorial Day weekend, so a lot of y'all probably gonna catch this on the flip side, but make sure you comment under the video even after it's done. And today we're not gonna do our normal fundraiser as we talked about last week. We are actually in a major bind with our housing situation, and we're trying to keep stable housing through this pandemic. So if you can, make sure you check out our GoFundMe. The link is right here and also in the description box. Feel free to share that with anybody. A little bit goes a long way. So any way you can help would be really, 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 really appreciated. And we're going to get into the show for tonight, so make sure you check out that GoFundMe. And before we get into our first segment for today, The Leaf, we're going to bring in our very special guest. They've been here before. We like to have them all the time. Julissa Contreras.
Oh! What's good? What
it do, la la?
How you doing?
Chilling. Happy to be here with y'all. Happy to talk about sex. It's my favorite thing to talk about. So
yes,
I'm going to dive into it.
Yes. No, we love Julissa. Let me tell y'all, amazing at everything. Amazing playwright. I literally was talking to Bay like all this time, like, you know how you know somebody's talented and you just like accept it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, like I know they're the shit, like it's whatever, like I'll see it eventually. So like see it was like, whoa. And for it to just be a reading like La Greña, like Julissa, I'm excited for that to hit feet. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like I can't wait. I know there's still a process going, but congratulations. Like the people need to know. You already know I'm mad annoying about shouting it out. So like
I love it.
I'm gonna be more annoying because it was so amazing. Like we could do an episode on literally all the things that were happening in that play. Like
yes.
So thank you for your work, and please check out Julissa beyond her ability to let y'all know what the truth is via speaking to y'all niggas online, and check out the artistic work. Because y'all don't be checking out people's artistic work. Y'all like us to cuss y'all out, but y'all don't like us to fucking like do it. You know what I'm saying? They love when we cuss them out. But like, let us cuss you out in a way that you can also like laugh and cry and experience like other things through stories that are not necessarily coming from our mouths. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Or coming from other parts of ourselves.
Absolutely.
We cuss y'all out because y'all frustrate us. But, you know, the care is in the art.
Right,
so if y'all want to feel cared about, look at the art.
Tough love shit. It's that tough love.
Okay.
If you want me to love you, come watch my plays.
It's literally that. You want the pet, you want to feel a little bit of an embrace, then come to the work, come to the artwork. Otherwise, we don't have the time for y'all. It's tough love. Take it and move on. Anyway.
Before we get into the episode, you want to tell the people like a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you're from?
Definitely, right? Because I'm sitting here like, oh, everybody know who I am. Well, I'm Julissa. I'm Julissa Contreras. I am a writer. I'm a thinker. I create in general. I have a podcast called Ladies Who Bronche alongside my bestie Skittles or Teas. And, you know, I just in general, I try to advocate as much as possible for the things that matter to me. And the things that matter to me don't necessarily have to be of me. I feel like I'm an instrument of the universe, and there are just certain standards and ways of being that we as humans are pushed to be. And through whatever avenue I touch, I am meant to be in that space to orchestrate that. I'm the creative media director at Naya Studio, which is a studio that does investment, but also is really meant to explore and understand how can we build holistic systems that create shared wealth and well-being for minoritized communities, whatever community that means or whatever umbrella that is. And I do that with an incredible team of people, most notably Miguel McKelvey, who's one of the co-founders of WeWork. Some people might know WeWork from WeWork, but some people might know it from this Apple TV show that's out right now. And I have to say that, like, it's such an interesting place to be when you are someone like us who are very much about decolonization and are really out here in the streets, and you meet people with, you know, certain privileges and power who actually want to honor your intention. It's like jarring because, you know, there's a trust that you have to build because you got to protect the integrity of what you're walking in with, but you also have to trust enough to allow the resources that are available to support you in what you're protecting. So like it's been such a beautiful exploration. And I do, you know, really, I adore being on that team, and I look forward to all of the creative things and the storytelling that will come out in that space, which is not a space where usually we think about creativity. We just think about how are you going to Shark Tank pitch somebody, make money, and then, you know, have the most successful business in the world. But we're more interested in like, how does your business actually help the greater good of Gaia, the world, the people? Like, that's what matters. And if it's not doing that, then fuck your profits, kind of. So
period.
Yeah, that's what I'm about.
Yes, found it. Like, went out and found it. Let me tell you, like, again, like we've been talking the whole time, it's just like trying to be like in the decolonization mind, which is a revolutionary mindset, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature, no matter what. You know, we had our conversation about reformism and things of that nature or whatever, but nonetheless, like, you, like, the refusal of anything else, you know what I'm saying, was like inspiring to watch. You know, you in your journal, it was like, nah, like, this is not, no. The no's that you gave, I was like, I felt so like empowered. We don't get to say no. We don't feel like we get to say no, you know what I'm saying, in those instances as often as we probably fucking should. Yes. And it was just inspiring to watch you like fucking do that, to find this position and to see it like support the things that are even more like important to your own personal, like, individual journey as well. Fucking great shit. Rare shit.
And I learned and I get inspired from y'all, because I'll tell you what, for every time that I was on the cusp of a decision that I knew was leaning into that white colonial nonsense and I was dancing the line, there would be a status on Facebook and there's Jip Jack going off. And I'm like, you're not that bitch. You don't want to be that bitch that Jip Jack is talking about. You know better. And so, like, I just want to also say that, like, the presence of people like us and whoever's watching who finds themselves in those folds, don't assume that because the conventional standards aren't, you know, applauding you for your work, that your work isn't affecting people who perhaps are in other spaces in which, without you saying those things, they would show up as the bullshit that we're trying to fight. So like being vocal is one of the most important things. And so that's why I am a storyteller, and I tell stories wherever the fuck I go. I don't care what the context is. Everything is about history, right? Everything that people fight over and cause wars over is legacy, right? And what is legacy but a story, right? So why do we have to wait until we're dead for our story to be important and valuable? We have to find the value of our story. And if we want to shape our story, then we have to fight for the narrative that we're trying to cement and leave behind. So.
Ashe. And with that, I'm going to say you have to bring that same energy to your sex life.
Okay.
That same energy.
Word.
That same
Perfect
energy.
segue.
You got to.
So let's get into it. Make sure y'all like this. I see people out there watching. And even when you check this post after you're recovering from your hangover this weekend, we have our little stuff right here, but we're not going out this weekend. But when you come back and watch this and I need to see this, make sure you hit that like button. But let's get into our first segment. That's the leads, and that's where we get into a little bit of the tea. But this is the major tea. We're actually doing this kind of in reverse this week. So we're going to watch this video together. This is about the orgasm. So we're going to be talking about the orgasm gap. Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what that is, so around 11% of all women globally that have sex with men experience orgasms. Now, we have about 7 billion people on the planet. 11% of that, it puts us in the high 100 millions. I'm horrible at math. I'm not going to go, but there's hundreds of millions of women out there. Only 11%. So even still, hundreds of millions of women on the planet are not having orgasm. And we're going to talk about why and how we can change that, because that's definitely some colonial shit. If you're having sex, you should be fucking coming.
As a person who's decent at math, let me tell you how more scary those numbers actually are. If we were to act as though they were half, right? If we were going to act as though half of the world, even though we know the majority of the world was cis women, right? If we were to act as though half of the world were cis women, 11% of those bitches are coming.
Which is nothing.
That's nothing. That's on the hundreds of thousands. That's not 100 million. That's on the hundreds of thousands of women having an orgasm. That means that means still billions.
Billion.
That's what I'm saying. That means still billions of women.
Yeah.
Have not experienced or are not consistently experiencing orgasms. So we dedicate this sex episode to the women and femmes because bottoms experience a lot of this shit too. Okay. And whenever we talk about you niggas, we are critiquing you. Get it together.
Yes.
Yes, this episode really is for the ladies, those with lady parts and those without. I'm a lady without lady parts, and that, it don't matter. Because there have been times, not with this one, but where I haven't gotten my nut during sex, and it's let's watch the video.
Yeah.
Let's watch the video.
Wow.
I love that video. There was just so much there. But the base question for this first part of the segment after watching that is, do you think the orgasm gap affects relationships as a whole between the sexes?
Yeah.
As in even friendships.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Women are less like.
Started over. Okay.
I think that's the answer to your question. It's a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. I think definitely it does. I have to say that from my experiences, a lot of the ways in which it hadn't affected things had more to do with my silence and my feeling I don't want to either be the partner who's too picky and demanding, or the partner who's just making it more than what it needs to be. We're here for the nut. You came. He did what he had to do, and he came. What else do you expect from him? You know what I mean? That's what you're here for. You came here to pleasure this man, and your gift is the validation that you are worthy enough to be attractive enough that this person can ejaculate. And so that's the kind of sex I was having for most of my life, and am still in some ways in the process of decolonizing, right? Because it's one of those things that as much as you know it, when you've spent the majority of your life. So I've been having sex since I was 17 years old. And and sparingly for the first few years, because, strict Dominican household, I wasn't having accessible dick everywhere. But when I really started getting into that dick game, I was already damn, I got to catch up. I'm not as experienced. I'm a bit heavier set. So I need to compensate for these things. And so I didn't even have the self-awareness enough to know that there's something to advocate for. Now, as I started to move through that and started to find partners where I would find a bit of confidence to at least give the feedback and have the conversation, it was interesting. There was one point in my life where I was having sex with two people on and off, and they were like the only two people I was having sex with. And like, one of them was very open and exploratory, and we would have these conversations and it was great. And the other one was quite literally like, why do we even need to talk about this? Like, why? Like you're trying to give directions, like you're ruining the organicness of it. It's just supposed to be what it is. Like and I would talk to him about wanting to get my pussy eaten more and being like, hey, like I suck your dick every time. In fact, there are times where all that happens is that your dick gets sucked and you're always coming and nothing else happens, and then he's like, oh, but like, I can't, like, almost like he can't just be eating my pussy all the time. Like it needs to be a surprise. Like it needs to be a treat because things will get boring and routine. But I ain't never seen that he was bored of the routine of getting his.
So Julissa, it's always difficult to let you just keep talking, right? Because like you don't go on tangents, but
you like taking us to church.
You take us to church in a way that like that will address all the points at once, and I'd be like, yeah,
sorry,
like because. Yeah, right. Every time because it's nothing to worry about. It's just like now I have to try to remember the points and try to stack them.
Please go, because that's that first chunk. Take that first chunk. The answer is yes.
Fucking shit, right? Like, okay. I guess maybe let's try to go backwards. Yes. The thing about men, and men. This is when we talk about you, we're critiquing you, and you just got to deal with it. Suck my dick, otherwise.
Right.
Men, are mad insecure about their dick. Like if we want to talk about it, like literally most of cis male sexuality is based on the insecurity of their penis. Like, so yeah, eating you out has to be like a surprise. And yeah, like all these things that people assume niggas don't know be baffling to me because it's like, first of all, like I guess y'all don't be in conversations with men. And otherwise, like they know, like you like the clit, like I mean I haven't been like face to face with a vagina, you know what I'm saying, to be like, yeah, like there the clit is, it's very obvious, but I've seen enough vagina in porn to see the hood and still be like, I know there's something under there. There's, you know what I'm saying, like I've seen, you know what I'm saying, like I've seen enough vagina in orgies where it's like I'm not quite literally face to face, but it's right there. You know what I'm saying?
It's not hiding.
It's not hiding.
Just open the fucking lips.
Right, it's not hiding. So I'm like, they know where it's at. They know what to do, but they also know that like their dick is the least likely thing to please you. But that's the thing that they need to please you the most. So that's what they offer the most. And then when they know that giving you head is what's going to please you, that has to be something like you can't get too used to that pleasure for multiple reasons, because then you'll start to expect to be treated better in other ways as well. So there's that. Then to address, I know this is a jump back, to address the silence situation, like yes to answer the question, because what it creates is that the tension that silence creates, like the simple jealousy, you know what I'm saying, like of looking at a man and knowing full well that he 9 times out of 10 had an orgasm, you know what I'm saying, like this week. At least, you know what I'm saying, like to just know. And I think that people don't give enough credence to like the things that their body and just their mind is just aware of, and how that affects like everything in their life. You might not consciously look at this nigga and be thinking about his sex life, but something in you is aware and is made aware that this nigga had an orgasm.
Yeah.
Now there's a question that comes up in what it is that you said. I feel like as a male and a person that also is femme and in the femme receptive position sexually, and a person who's been a top, I'm fully versed, you know what I'm saying, but lately it's bottom city, and I'm okay with that. I find that there's a huge difference between like busting a nut and orgasming.
Yes.
Okay, what like, can I ask before we get into our other questions, like, if you don't mind, what's the difference?
I will say,
you asking Julissa?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, I will say this, right? my favorite part of that video is the part where they call out women who think they're orgasming when they're not, because I think for the majority of my life, that was me. And I just think that like there's a way in which I was feeling pleasure with a lot of dudes. Like I was really like, like I was in it. I was feeling like the pussy pulse is what I like to call it. My pussy's pulsing and all this shit. But it wasn't until, and this like also speaks to another thing, but I won't get into it, until I was having sex with somebody who I wasn't even really trying to have sex with, conventionally not attracted to him, came and like rocked my fucking world, and I squirted for the first time. And then I realized, right, because squirting was something that I was like, oh, I'm just one of the pussies that can't do that. Like my pussy don't squirt. And then I realized that like what the buildup, the care, the consideration, like the way in which this person actually was not just fucking me because I was a female and I was present. There was something about me and that energy that he was putting forth, like actually had me orgasming in a way that I was like, oh shit, this is an orgasm. And then I was like fucked up. Like I was like fucked up in so many ways. And before I knew it, and I was like, I literally said, oh my God. Oh my God, my couch. Like, like I because I was like, what is going on?
I didn't know it could do that.
Hallelujah.
I didn't know I can do that. But then when I experienced that, and I have to say, like, I've been chasing that nut since that time. And I tried to have sex with that person again at a later time, and they didn't achieve it, and they were in a different space. And the reason I point that out is that energy is such an important part of sex, and that's how you can be, having an orgasm or not, or enjoying yourself but not actually getting a nut. And I was like, now I know what me getting a nut looks like. And I don't even think I've actually quite learned how to give it to myself, because I can't make myself squirt either. You know what I mean? And so like now I recognize that like it's not that I'm dissatisfied if I'm not squirting or having like the most optimal, but that when people are asking me, oh, how was it for you? I can't keep giving you the kudos of acting like what you did was what happened on that couch on that said day. Because it's not, right? And so I recognize that I will still engage and I don't feel cheated necessarily. But if you are someone who is trying to really make me nut, you have to know that that's different than me being like, oh, my pussy's all tight and you feel my pussy, you feel me getting a little wet. Like, stop thinking you did something.
Ooh. And on
got
that
the scorecard, 7 out of 10.
That's what I'm gonna start getting.
But it's funny that you mentioned that we were watching.
I was just about to say this.
I
was just about to say it. Thank you for putting it in the terms that you put it, because Cat Williams had brought up creaming and squirting and had made it seem as though that is like the genetics of that particular genitalia, instead of like the onus is on the nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you thought that you had a vagina that didn't squirt, which is the kind of thing that like we hear, like, oh, the vagina is the variable. But no, nigga, your dick, you are the variable. Vaginas are different indeed, but for the most part, the function is the same, just like most dicks function the same way. There's an area on the penis that is the most sensitive, just like there's an area in the vagina that is the most sensitive. It's not rocket science. At the end of the day, you as a nigga have had more explosive orgasms when someone was stimulating certain things, and less explosive orgasms when people were stimulating certain things as well. So how dare you suddenly make it seem as though like this vagina is one that can squirt. I found the squirting vagina.
That's a thing for people with penises, that like you can nut, but there's different levels to the nut that you nut. Because the way I experience it as a woman is just like, well, if you come shooting, you can't.
Nope.
And it all like you're having the same orgasm.
It's never it's rarely the same exact experience.
I'm learning this for the first time.
Oh yeah. Oh. See, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Like,
oh yeah, no, we're gonna get to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, there are, I mean, like the factors are similar. You know what I'm saying? Like there are a lot of things that like make it different, like what's going on in the person's mind, what, you know what I'm saying, the actual textures feel like, where the textures feel like where, you know what I'm saying? And all of those things are super important. And there is a difference between just like coming and having an orgasm. A lot of times, and anybody with a penis can agree or disagree, a lot of times if you're about to have a real explosive nut, the orgasm happens right before the ejaculation. And then the ejaculation is like a secondary like thing that is also like enough.
Like Ben Pat.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and then from the anal perspective, and we're going to talk about, like you said, we get into the nitty gritty. I need tops, especially in these homosexual streets, to get over whether or not your bottom is peeing while you're in there. Those contractions, you know what I'm saying? No, I mean, I don't know vagina enough to be able to say, but from what vagina holders say, no squirt is not pee, but your bottom peeing is your bottom's squirt. So let them. When I talk to bottoms, and I'm like there was one time like I'm not noodle bottoming, but I've had few tops in my life, right? But one time I was new as fuck to bottoming, and I asked like when I finally let myself like do it, which I was like, does anybody here experience this? And it was like, no, publicly, all this, no. And then two people came in my inbox like, yes, bitch, but we don't talk about this with this. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm sorry. And it was like, and you a man. You're a man, a male identified man. You're not even like none of this. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing like, you don't consider yourself femme or anything. Like you're masked. You're just like a masculine bottom, and you are buying into this level of womanhood in that you're secretly like not allowing yourself an orgasm. What? Huh?
And honestly, I think that when we talk about colonization, right, and like body ick, I think is a big part of colonization, right? When you think about the process of like, what is you being well put together, and even in porn, unless you're typing in for a specific kind of porn, it's going to be clean sex with the exception of maybe like spit and shit like that. But like, they're not showing the sex that people are having in the streets necessarily. And so there's this like continued conditioning that by the time you're in a space, because we are not taught to talk about sex with each other and to share our sexual insights, we think our experiences are only our own, and it's so shameful. And we don't want to share them, not only because we're embarrassed, but because we don't want to be marked as a partner that's not desirable to a larger audience. So why would we share these things? We need to be desirable, and desirability for most of us is within a colonial framework. And until we break that, it's not even just about what our partner, because we might be with partners who aren't scared of that shit, but we're walking into the bedroom, or at least I can speak to myself, preconditioned to need to give them the most optimal experience, even if they're not saying, bitch, be perfect.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I can definitely feel that. Like, the first time it happened, and I'm sorry to talk about this, but the first time it happened was with Pat, and I was so embarrassed. I was like I didn't even know how to address it. I don't even know what your response was. Like, I don't even like. That's how embarrassed it was. Y'all, this is me saying I don't remember something.
I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, that's never happened before. But like being able to feel it on the opposite end, I knew what it was from, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
and when you talk about chasing, honey, chasing that, and I mean, I'm one of the girls that's easy to that. So like, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, let's get it popping. All we have to do is decide to do it, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So like you feel like, I mean, I've even heard, vagina holders say that like their first orgasm was so embarrassing because like they like are losing control, and it tends to be, and this is the shit that's be wild, with someone they never met, some stranger, one night stand, not their partner.
I'm telling you,
yo,
trying to fuck.
Like when I didn't even address that part of it because that felt so familiar to me. Like I swear to God, I hear that all the time. Like somebody, again, they were just completely shocked that the shit went down at all, let alone went down like that. So you're embarrassed as fuck as to this person where you're not even sure you told them your name, kind of like is, you know what I'm saying? Like got you shaking and like you look, you're exorcisting it, and, you know what I'm saying, in the motherfucking bed, and you can't do shit about like, so
I don't even know this nigga's middle name.
Right.
And he was proud, and he was someone who, like, from our past, but like a person who was like just never in the ether of consideration for that. So like when it happened, it was so like even the meetup was not for sex. You know what I mean? Like it was a very, so when I'm telling you, like when I have sex or when I know I'm going to have sex, I feel like there's this mental preparation and there's all this shit that I realize I put onto the situation. And it starts with the moment where you're like, all right, it's time to shave the pussy. And it's time to shave your legs, and it's time to do this, and it's time to smell good, and it's time to make sure, you know, like, you make sure your pussy ain't discharging a certain way, and if it is, like, make sure you get your little scooper, you know, your nails, and you scoop out some of the discharge, and like, there's just like all this preparation that goes into it, and you know, I just was completely unprepared, but I realized that all that preparation actually kind of puts me in a mindset where I'm locking myself well before I open my legs. Like I'm already doing too much. And I realized that like when I have sex with people, even intentionally, who maybe I'm not as attracted to or I'm not really fiending over, but I am here just for the nut, I get the best nuts. And so as much as I need my partner to understand me, I really need us as individuals to understand that we have to decolonize ourselves in order to decolonize our sex. It's not just about how our partner is coming into the space. We have to come into the space prepared to be free.
And I find that like to speak to the like attraction level thing, right?
Yeah.
I feel like everybody knows that like people who don't consider themselves, this has nothing to do with whether they're actually attractive or not, but people who at least grew up not being told all day long that they were beautiful, you know what I'm saying? Like tend to be better in bed, even if they look better than everybody, you know what I'm saying? If nobody told them that, they tend to just be better because because even just like the need to be good in bed comes from that same like place of like needing to present well, again, like trying to give this optimal experience. And then we got to speak to the fact that so much of that preparation, at least for y'all, is based on ignorance, the ignorance of the people that y'all are fucking. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, like why don't if there's a sex ed class, why doesn't everybody know what discharge means what?
Yeah.
Why are we confused about that? Why is that something that you got to be like, oh, okay, like I know that this is a safe color, but I'm very certain that this nigga is going to think the viscosity is particularly da 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 da, so da da da. And all of this math that y'all got women doing for no, you know what I'm saying, all day long. For no reason, when everything is fine. It's just this nigga is not going to know that everything's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
There are grown men that get grossed out by periods.
Yeah,
so it's like,
like, I don't even bother. I don't even bother with that period praying with dudes.
So our closing question for this segment is, are you having the sex you want? And if not, what's stopping you?
I am in the works of having the sex that I want. What has been stopping me from being fully there is myself, and my indulgence of, again, going back to the colonial structures of the bullshit that I think I need to be doing in order to be having optimal sex. Because I realize, and what I've learned is that as aggressive and dominating as I am in my walking life and my sexual life, I'm very submissive. And so by the time I get into the sexual space, right, my submission, and because I am having sex with cis males, like my submission for them automatically puts them in this power position. And when they don't know how to decolonize themselves or how they're going to engage me, I just allow to happen what's happening. And it's like, you know, it's not, sometimes people are like, well, why don't you just take control in the situation and stuff? And it's like, I can, but that doesn't arouse me the most. Actually, I want to be submissive. I want to be taken on a ride. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, but and isn't it the fact that men want to feel like they're accomplishing something? Like, I'm giving you a whole like adventure land. Like, don't just stick it in me, whatever, and you get a nut. Like, get hype off of all the buttons and things I have and make me do more than just that. Like, I want you to do more than that. And so now I'm able to say that a bit more clearly. But I realized I went through a long gap where I hadn't had sex. You know, I just moved from New York to Denver. Denver's not really giving the give when it comes to dick. And so I just needed to just putting it out there. If
Denver, step your pussy up.
Right? Like, Denver really.
It's not hard enough.
given to give. But I did have a sexual experience. And during the experience, the guy at one point was like, you can touch me, right? And I was like, oh shit, I'm completely off. Like I was turned off. Like my brain was just like not present and I wasn't really engaging. And it was a good reminder to me that, if I want to be having the kind of sex I want to have, I need to be prepared to say no when I know that sex is not actually what's being presented to me, even if it's in the middle of the sex. Mm-hmm. And I think as somebody who, survived sexual assault, I recognize the difficulty in saying no in the middle of something like that. But having that moment happen to me actually propelled me into wanting to advocate far more for myself and my voice during sex, even as I'm being submissive. And understanding that I just have to accept that for the most part, for whatever reason, most men I encounter don't really care about my experience in the way that I want them to care about it. They have a level of care, but it's not tied to the integrity. And then in that case, unless I'm really just trying to get a nut in and out, like I don't need to be engaging those people. And I question the value of the nut if I'm really not going to get the full nut that I want. And so should I even be fucking them at all? And it's not about celibacy or like being clear and pure. It's not about pureness. If I could get the right person, I'm going to be dirty as many times as I want to be dirty and nasty. I'm a nasty, freaky bitch. Like that's my truth. Right. But I recognize that there's something divine and honorable in my freakiness. And I feel like we've demonized freakiness to the point that like people don't know how to be divine in their freakiness. And if I'm bringing divine freakiness, I need to be met with divine engagement or like, sort of like seduction of that freakiness. And that don't happen with everybody, and I've had to give up partners where I found that energy, but had to give them up for other reasons. But like I have a standard and you have to fight for your standards of sex. And if you don't know it yet, that's fine. But if you're going to have sex, try to use those moments as explorations of your standards.
Period.
That's a word.
Yeah.
No notes.
I don't know if there's anything I could like add to that. I was like, I would say that I think I am having the sex I want. I think that there are things I could be more proactive on so we could be having better sex. But for the most part, like I'm happy with the sex that's going on. I know you always want more.
Do you feel free to speak on maybe one or two of those things that you think you could be more proactive on?
Initiating. I've been trying to initiate sex more. Like that's not like always been my like thing to be the one to initiate. So I'm just trying to like do that more. And I know that makes you feel like more safe and secure. And like, of course, like it, like no one like always wants to be the one starting it. So like I get like I very much like get that. And then like frequency. Like I think you've been doing like good on the frequency, but like you always say, I think there's other times that we could be utilizing that. Like if I was just like a bit more like present sometimes, I would be able to be like, oh wait, hey, we're gonna have some like free time here. We could, have sex instead.
And there's like the part of me, like, okay, like I feel you. Like if and I guess like I'm just gonna jump in on that because like as we're a couple, we're talking about our shit right here. Like there's the part of me that doesn't like want you to force that in any way, and like doesn't want you to like assume any obligation to frequency. At the same time, needing like the consideration of like frequency. That's why like I haven't like complained about like having like more sex with you or like thinking that like or like tried to add a day. You know what I'm saying, or anything like that. So there's that, right? I guess for me, like I'm having definitely the physical experience that I want to have. I definitely feel the love as well. Ooh, oh, Julissa is dry.
I'm sure that she'll get back in. I'll keep an eye on my phone.
I want Julissa to hear what we got to say, so I'm not finishing until we get back.
And I am telling you,
I'm sparking to that.
I'm not going.
I look sexy in my corset, y'all, or no? Is it damn candy or no? Oh wow.
Okay, we can stall.
So Oshunmuyiwa Chango was like Pakao over there, and the light went out. So they coming back. It's a tornado warning almost everywhere. They're like, oh, y'all's out there wilding. Heck, why, hey, oh, y'all, please let our girl get back online, please.
We do have a question from earlier. I guess we could take that now.
Okay.
So Jelani asked, how do you get someone to stop feeling sensitive about them setting boundaries?
John, if you're still on, I have a clarifying question. You're saying that how to get them to stop being sensitive about them setting boundaries, as in like they are resistant to setting boundaries,
or the boundaries you're setting toward them being resistant to the boundaries
you're setting. Like they're sensitive because the boundaries you're setting. Okay, they don't want to set the boundaries because they're resistant to setting it themselves. You shake the fuck out of them. You break. Honestly, no. Honestly, I some of Julissa's back on. I honestly feel as though we're gonna return to that question. So
we'll hold that question.
We'll return back to that question.
In the Bridget segment.
Sorry, y'all.
All good. Hekwa Heoya, my faithful no ya, protect everybody who we love that's over there. I think it's only Julissa, but anybody that's around.
Wow.
Any patrons?
And it seemed like that too. I saw, like, all I saw was like, and I was like, the fuck? And then you were gone.
And then I left. I saw because my life went whoop.
Yes.
Like, we'll see it in the replay because I go.
Can't wait.
What a world we live in. Now we got reruns of our own shit.
Okay.
Like, rewind.
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
I
was listening, but y'all was where I got cut off. Was y'all talked about frequency, and then whatever the segment was, Jack, you asked the question, and Pat was about to answer. And when you asked the question, by the way, that's when the lightning struck. So, oh yeah, that's why I knew it was oh yeah right away. But
okay, so Pat answered. I think I didn't ask. I started saying that I don't want Pat to like force. To force the frequency thing. For me, if where I don't see necessarily improvement, I wouldn't necessarily say that our sex life needs improvement. I am very satisfied physically and emotionally for the most part. Like the emotional part is getting there more and more, but very much physically satisfied by everything you do. So there's that. I am also a nasty freak bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm insatiable. So like there's things that I want to find out about myself as a bottom. There's things that like I don't know if one person could achieve. You know what I'm saying? And things, you know what I'm saying, of that nature that make it so that I'm not quite having the sex that I want to have, and that there are aspects of sex that I'm not having. But
they really would have make this DP thing work. And I'm just like, I don't know if it works in real life.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. Like, you know how some positions are just uncomfortable? Like, it looks cool in a video, and it's like, I'll be like, in real life, that shit is uncomfortable. And it's like, if we can find a comfortable way to do it, I'm down. But I'm like, I don't know.
and you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, y'all know, I'm sorry. I be trying not to be too honest with y'all sometimes. I've been trying to hold back when you hold, but I can't hold back when you hold. I am trying to be the MTA at least one time. The lure, at least. You know what I'm saying? Like the lure got like 3 carts. You know what I'm saying? Like not, you know what I'm saying? At least the LIRR for those who are not New Yorkers.
Right.
Long Island Railroad.
Not going to Brooklyn through Hempstead.
I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? On the strength that like I have a lot like I am indeed tantric. You know what I'm saying? There are levels of like energetic stuff that I could use as well. But I don't know. I'm one of those girls who are very into penetration, and it's like I there's a duration question that I have. There's a frequency question that I have. Unfortunately, even though I don't consider myself a size queen and huge dicks freak me out to some degree, there's a size question. Yeah. There are questions that I have that I don't know are associated with how I actually want to have sex, or associated only to this insatiability, or you know what I'm saying? Like, what part of the insatiability is desire and then like physical need? What part of, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's all these questions that I have that in an inability to answer them because of COVID and because of indeed also being beholden to your emotional life and things of that nature that I can't quite answer as freely as I would had, especially no COVID. I think like the COVID is the most serious block that is current.
And now that monkeypox shit too is out
there. Oh my God.
Not monkeypox. Like
I'm just saying, there's cases in the US, you know, and
it's not even and monkeypox not even sexually transmitted. Like you could be sitting next to a bitch on the train. It's skin to skin. You could be sitting next to a bitch on the train and you don't even, it's not even like infected area to infected area. It's not even like you don't have to that's the thing that's scary about it, is that you could be literally like bumping elbows with a bitch and then like there's no signs of it, and then there you go.
And you know, and I think that I love what you're saying about like there's an expiration to be had, but there's not necessarily an attachment to everything. The expiration is just for that. It's to explore, what do I like, what don't I like? And I can say that for me, like, you know, I didn't start masturbating until late in life because I didn't know that I could really, like, I didn't think of that as a thing. And I was never satisfied with fingers, like when people are like, oh yeah, I finger myself. And I'm like how old? That ain't doing nothing for me, right? Like, you know, so like, and it's because I understood, and I still understand that something about my deeper pleasure is deeper. It's deeper than what my fingers were reaching and like able to satisfy. But I think that outside of like exploration,
maybe you need to take 3 hours one day and just clear a weekend.
3 hours one day, and you know, I got me one of those vibrators that has the clit sucker at the same time as the thing. You know, like I've
heard about those.
You know, those are fun, but it's like, and they work, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. There's something about me being the one to drive things that it goes back to me being a sub. I don't want to need my orgasm. So I can, and I will come and whatever, but even in how I come, I let myself come during masturbation the way I come with basic motherfuckers having sex when I'm not really having like a full orgasm. I stop there because everything else is more work and I'm too heady, like I'm too over analytical with myself to make myself come. To me, coming is a gift. Like you're coming to me with the gift of putting me out of my mind. Right. And allowing for me to explore and be where I'm at. So if you can't put me out of my mind, of my logic, my brain, then it's going to be very hard to make me come beyond the basic, like, oh yeah, this feels good. Oh, you came. And then that's also part of it too. Is like when I'm starting to start up, once the little pussy posters start, sometimes some dudes, that's too much. That make them come.
They can't last. Yeah.
You know, and I'm good with that. Come as fast as you need to come, but then play with my pussy after. Play with, and don't be bored playing with my pussy after. Like I've had dudes who are like, oh, okay, and then they like do a little finger and they don't even wait for nothing. They're like, oh, you good? Or they'll be like, oh, I'm tired. And I get it. Maybe people with penises, after you ejaculate, there is a drain where you can't come back up. But like, I'll give you 10 minutes. Come finish me. Like, you know what I mean? Like time and gaps. It's not like I need to wait 10 minutes to get back up. You touch the right buttons, I'm back up in 0.2 seconds. Like, you know, and I also think that there's something about the way that people, at least with cisgender folks, I experience this a lot, threaten each other with their power of how they can make themselves come. It's kind of like, oh, well, if you're whatever, like I can just do it myself. And it becomes like this competition of like, you know, yeah, I don't need your pussy. I got my hand and I don't need this and I have that. And it's like, okay, but what are you saying with that? Like, what do these objects and things have that are satisfying you? Like sometimes when people say that, I'm like, all right, but what about your hand makes you come better than my pussy? Because tell me, because maybe I want to show up in a way where I can get you that level of satisfaction rather than it being a threat. Let it be an invitation to me. Invite me to your deepest pleasure so that I can see if it's something that I can match. And maybe I don't, right? Like, and then that's just the thing. Sometimes if you're not really vibing with somebody, you're not vibing with somebody. But other times it's not, like I said, to my point of me getting off better with people who I'm not really interested in. Like, it's not always about that. And so we need to I do think men say that from trauma, pain, and insecurity, for sure. But like, we are in a new age. Like, people keep getting freaked out about the way the LGBTQ community has expanded and language has expanded and possibilities have expanded. And y'all are scared open the fuck up. Let somebody lick your ass. Let somebody stick a finger in it. You know, like let people try things with you. Obviously consensually, obviously at your comfort level, but like, don't be so afraid that you're cheating yourself out of your deepest orgasms if you are somebody who wants to be orgasming like that, because there are people who don't. There are people who are satisfied not having sexual activity, and I think that's beautiful. But all these rap songs and all these fucking things that we hear where people are talking about sex and this and that, and I'm like, y'all motherfuckers ain't have the best nut of your life yet. Shut the fuck up. And you ain't
you could tell.
You can tell.
And you can very much tell.
You can tell.
Yeah, like
the way they just like, they're like, oh wait, I should mention pussy here. Insert bitch I fuck.
Yeah.
And move along. I'm like, what is this? This you not no.
Right.
What you
It's like
to act like you did to her, you mean? Like half the time, things that dudes think they're doing to women, they're not.
It ain't real.
But we are trying to get immersed in our experience enough that we are willing to suspend disbelief. I know all about it. I'm a fucking trained doctor. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is sometimes how we need to get into it, because we know that they're having sex for themselves and not for us. And so once I tap into the fantasy, if I'm not going to cut off the sex, I'm like, well, let's ride this fucking fantasy wave. Let's see if I can get turned on by where they're at. But they don't even know how to be where they say they're trying to be at. Like they're not even committed to their own shit.
They're gonna call me a simp for this, and I mean I'm in a wig, so fuck y'all. But they're not even having sex for themselves. They're having sex for their boys.
Ooh, wait, hold it to the next segment, girl. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell.
That's a
but girl.
And I would add, women are having sex to make other women jealous, are trying to act like they're having a certain type of sex to make other women jealous.
Word.
Because it makes
it's a competition it's a competition on who can please the man, a man the best, or who could even please the most men.
Word.
Because bottoms are having the same competition. So I'm not going to hold cis men and otherwise identified femmes who don't have vaginas accountable for that same shit, because same shit. The problem also is that people go through something and then generalize the pain, so healthy options become distant. Absolutely. Yeah. People think everybody been through what they've been through. People think that everybody see things exactly how they see things, and it's really weird. And it'd be people that can't like see things multiple ways, and that'd be the part that'd be blowing mind. Like to me, before you can make a generalization, something has to be true for at least 4 experiences. Like, and you have to be able to track those experiences in some way. Either you took yourself and put yourself in other people's shoes, or you surveyed. You know what I'm saying? Like, otherwise, like to generalize something and 4 of those things are not true it's not true for her, you're wilding. If you're going on one thing, you are wilding.
Yeah.
But yeah, cis heteronormativity is the thing that stops all of that. And I keep trying to tell people this. It's like at the end of the day, like the rules that make you straight are the things that are stopping you from enjoying all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas be scared to have their taint played with, which the taint is only like an extension of the fucking prostate. Like literally the prostate is mad big, and the nut in the butt and the part of it in the butt is just like a point where things are focused. So it's like your G-spot's in your butt, man. And if you would be at least okay with like some taint like rubbing and tickling.
A cruel joke of Lucifer, some would say.
If you think Yahweh built your body.
Yeah. And it does feel like a cruel joke, because I'm a woman who's out here, and I make it clear, and I had to decolonize in order to get here because I wasn't always this way. To say to men who I want to have sex with, if we're like talking beforehand and there's this like conversation, like, please let me know everything that pleases you, even if you think that shit is gay. Even if you think your mind is like, oh no, that's gay shit, that's why I don't want to do it. If that's your reason, take that off the list. Like, let me explore it.
Please.
My hope is that you would explore, as like to the video's point, women having sex with women have higher rates of orgasm. I imagine that there's a level of confidence in the explorations that might be happening. And I don't know, I've only had sex with a woman once. So like, I don't know like in repetition, to your point of pattern. Like I can't speak for sure, but my understanding is that there's more of a confidence of the exploration that happens. And so I want you as a man to have that level of exploration with me. I'm willing to have that level of exploration with you. And even with that honesty and laying out, I either get, oh no, you're too liberal for me, or nah, that's just gay shit. Or no, I know I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, you mean you're uncomfortable with it. Don't tell me you don't like something you've never tried, but you can tell me that you are too uncomfortable to try it, which is different. I think even the language that we use has to change, because like, and people need to get hip with the, like, if you can't get hip with pronouns, at least get hip to the fact that there's sexual expression, there's sexual desire, there's wanting of long-term relationship. If you like somebody to play with your booty hole, that doesn't mean you're going to marry someone of who's a man. It doesn't mean that you're going to be having sex with men. It means that your booty hole is a point of pleasure. And so whoever you choose to have sex with is going to be invited into knowing that.
Right.
It just, like, if you want somebody to play with your booty hole, like, straight fella, just make sure it's clean.
Yeah, just wipe and if you're gonna have anyone go in your booty hole, you gotta at least bidet.
Yeah. That's why I'm not into anal shit. It's too much. I commend people.
It's a lot of work. And to that point, tops, when your bottom has cleaned out, take full advantage, right? Yeah. You know that this bottom has not eaten. 9 times out of 10, if y'all were to try to have sex tomorrow, which, back-to-back bottoming doesn't happen often, if y'all going to try to have sex tomorrow, that they would have to continue to not eat for the rest of today and then not eat the next day. Why not, after a few hours, put it back in? On your own. Just like, okay, like, I know that it's going to at least be 2 days before the next time we fuck. I know that it took this bottom anywhere from 15 minutes to 4 hours to be completely clean. I know that we're either waiting for food or like we haven't yet ordered food and it's been 2 hours. I don't know why we haven't yet ordered food. Probably because he wants more dick. Stick it in. You know what I'm saying? Like, just have the consideration to do like more, like multiple
have the consideration.
Rounds. Yeah, multiple rounds is just like the best way. You know what I'm saying? Multiple times a day, at least for anal sex, is the best way to have frequent sex anally, because like otherwise your nigga or the person trying to bottom anally is not eating. Okay.
And I even think,
all right, wait, we gotta move on. Y'all. Sorry. We gotta go. Okay, this is the trunk where we unpack something in pop culture. This week, we're going to talk about Shigma.
It sounds like Yiddish for stigma.
Right.
Stigma and shame around sex. So we kind of gotten a lot into that in our past segment. So now we're going to dive on in with a tweet from good old Nicki Minaj. So Dear Auntie Nicki said on March 5th. Oh, you want to read it?
Sure.
You want me to read it?
Sure, I can read it. You
got to do the Nicki voice.
Do I have a good Nicki voice?
I have never and will never. You gotta think like
I can't speak up there. Okay. I have never and will never understand why women do this. How will your partner learn how to make you feel good if you aren't honest with him? A bitch like me used to give a grace period. After that, you getting cussed out every time. They figure it out real quick. Either that or deuces.
And she said,
come quick equal go quick. Bye, sir. Unless they can go 2 rounds after, I'll excuse the first round because I know you're excited, boo. Right. I feel that. I wish I would be sitting there moaning and groaning when I actually want to punch this dummy right in his fucking head. Top. I'm crying. I fully agree. Like, they're like, no notes, Nikki, because really, like, at this point, okay, we talking about women's rights, women's revolution, women's evolution, like, femme power, you know what I'm saying? I said this about abortion, you know what I'm saying, as well, like, all of this trying to convince niggas of this, like, softness of women, all of this, like, we're not baby murderers. At this point, it's like, I will unalive this baby. I don't give a fuck if you see it as a baby. It's a fetus to me. If you see it as a baby, then I'm unaliving this baby, and you're going to let me before I unalive you.
Yep.
I am not sitting here moaning, taking this whack ass dick. You better punch me in this pussy right with the dick, or get punched in your throat wrong with my fist. Those are your options here.
No violence, people, please.
Nikki said it. I ain't say it. Those are your options here, and I'm just saying, like at the very least, that energy. You know what I'm saying? Like your nut is important. Like, oh my God, like your body has developed in it a stress relief mechanism. Y'all niggas are dying of hypertension.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
Y'all are having heart attacks and strokes out here from stress.
Yep.
And be out here trying to either be Puritanian or fucking silent about it and not, or just don't see it as important. So you think it's silent. And you got something that could at least relieve a little pressure from your heart. You ever had a really good, like, for the people who have experienced orgasm, your heart goes and then it's like and then when it gets normal beat, that beat, you can feel the difference in how soft it's beating and how still efficiently it's pumping blood throughout your body. It's not the same as the endorphins you get from working out. It's not the same from all that other fucking shit that y'all be trying to do to replace sex. Ooh, if you eat it, it's like, this food is orgasm. Nigga, fuck you. This dick going where it's supposed to go, this vagina getting what it needs, this ass getting what it's supposed to do, is what is doing the thing for the stress levels in your fucking body. Like, I'm sorry, I eat like shit, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the best eater. My cholesterol is amazing. My doctor be like, oh my God, like, you must eat. I'm like, girl, I be in this McDonald's. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Bitch,
what's your secret?
Vitamin
D.
I bust nuts copiously.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's so funny that, like, you know, a part of the unfortunate, I think, for women in the moment, like what Nikki is saying, I think is beautiful. And I think the reality is most women aspire to be that way. But again, as somebody who has been in scenarios in which you question the safety of being able to be vocal. I mean, shit, I was just watching a video before we hopped on of a girl who just politely denied somebody her number, and the dude went behind his friend and threw a drink on her from the other side because he was tight. And then when she like noticed and threw a drink in his face, started throwing hands with her and like was like beat, you know what I mean? And so like, we think that these sort of situations are like once in a blue, but when I tell you that, like, there's the dude, you know, before y'all start fucking, but once that testosterone is going and they are in heat and they're in the middle of it, like sometimes men turn into a different beast and you don't feel safe. You don't. Even to talk about your own pleasure, you don't feel safe. I've actually, and you know what? I'm recalling, right? There have been certain times when I'm recalling one particular moment where I was trying to, in the moment, like make things clear that I wasn't really feeling pleasure, and it was that I needed more lubrication. And I was like, this is not lubricated enough. And the dude straight up was just like, shh. That's what he told me. Shh. Almost like I was interrupting his sex. Shh.
I've been there.
You know, and then I was just like, and before I knew it was funny, it's like, because it was like, maybe this was like last year, and I was like, oh no, I'm about to stop this sex. But like right in the helms of me being like, all right, I need to prepare to be like, we about to stop. He nutted. He had his nut, so I didn't have the chance to stop it. But I recognized in that moment, wow, I'm gonna just have to stop everything here. Like, I did all this work, all this preparation to hopefully have a moment here, and now I'm being shushed.
You blew it, nigga.
You
gonna shush me?
Right. You gonna shush me?
No.
And it, like, I feel like some niggas think it's sexy because, like, yes, like, you know what I'm saying, as people who want to sub, as people who are very dominant in our walking and daily life, a lot of times you go to sex, and this is just what I mean. We can discuss this. We might need another part 2. This might go on the Patreon instead. Who knows? But we need to discuss the psychology of sex, indeed, and how, like, the difference between, like, colonial, like, sexual needs versus, like, how we had sex pre-colonial, and, like, what is natural now versus what might not have been natural then, versus, like, what is carried over and has been, like, is being decolonized and brought back from back then. And except like, there's all of that, right? But niggas.
Excuse me.
to bring it back to why you have sex with women, especially why y'all have sex this way. Ew. Like, I'm sorry, ew. When you think about how you're like, again, like Jill Scott said on The Thickness back in the live album days, we live in the conquest. That be y'all whole point. That be y'all whole point to get in the pussy. And that's disgusting on multiple levels, to the point where you could say shush to somebody while you're in their house, while you're in their literal physical home in their body, like approaching their womb and shit, to tell somebody shush about making it more comfortable for them. It's not like they were making all kinds of noise screaming and you wanted them to stop screaming because it was distracting or something, nothing. There was nothing about it but like trying to make it more comfortable for somebody. And that's how you respond. I know it was for your boys.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you have to, and I'm sorry to have to reconcile and bring this open and forgive anybody who's triggered, especially you, Julissa, by this. But it's unfortunate how often bottoms and femmes and women have to experience like sexual assault after consenting to sex.
Yeah.
Like, it is fucking wild that somebody has to now like figure out how to stop something, but nonetheless didn't have enough time. You got your nut, and nonetheless, like, unconsensual sex happened in between the time I tried to stop you and you nutted. And now I have to like live with that, either disconnect from that or like, you know what I'm saying, not even see that.
Right.
You know
I was going to say,
and
I didn't even see it that way. Like you're saying it and I'm like, and I'll just add on before you continue going. Like, not only did he do that, because I was being irresponsible. I'll call myself irresponsible. The motherfucker gave himself permission to nut in me.
Oh.
You are
now I have a weak pull-out game, but I make that very clear before I start topping anyone.
Say that again?
I said I have a weak pull-out game, but I make that extremely clear before I start topping anyone. And I'm like, I'm letting you know that I need us to share responsibility in this pulling out if that is what you want. Because I can't be held fully responsible. It's weak. Please help.
Oh yeah, he left me $100 bill so I could go get Plan B and my nails done. Because that's what I was fucking him for, right?
See, so I can't endorse the things that I want to endorse.
That's not enough money for a full set and Plan
B.
That's what I'm saying.
It wasn't. It sure wasn't. Because the pill was 45 something, 50.
And a full set that's going to make a bitch feel good after that.
Okay.
Is at least 200 if we really talking. I need shit hanging and dangling from the tips of my shit.
Right, I should have
for this. Okay.
Everywhere.
I should be catwomaning from like. I should be able to just like pack-ow.
Right.
From dumb far.
Yep.
Fuck out of here.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Niggas, y'all be habitually line stepping, and I'm sorry, like. This is like if there's ever a time that I'm dressed as a male and I'm around y'all, it's literally to let y'all know how much y'all line step and to bring tea back to my bitches. So just like understand, and y'all know this, and y'all still reveal the tea. So just understand that like y'all need to figure it out. Y'all need to figure out what it is that y'all like, so that y'all can stop wasting hoes' time. And so that y'all can stop forcing people into these levels of psychosis that they don't have to fucking be in. Like the level of things that you have to miss as a femme, you just gotta miss.
Mm-hmm.
That if you don't, that as people as observative as us, that if we don't fucking miss, we will just be sitting in a corner, like especially in the moments, just fucking fetal, because like we will be rendered useless if we don't miss. Why make me miss my experiences? That's wild. That's wild. Like, I want to find that nigga. Like, you have me ready to.
And it wasn't even good. Like, it wasn't even good. Like, it just wasn't worth it, which is why I'm saying, like, my metal detector before has gone up. And a lot of times people want to act like, oh, you're too picky and especially as somebody who is heavier set, right? Fat, whatever the fuck word you want to use. You know, suddenly people think my TSA can't have certain, like, oh, I'm not taking my shoes off. And then, no, take your motherfucking shoes off, put the belt in the thing and go through the metal detector thoroughly. There's a lot of times where people will try to act like they are above, or like I am not good enough or worthy of me thoroughly trying to understand what's happening. Or they're like, ew, that's ruining the nut. But already it's like, so you're just here for your nut. Because if you don't even want to give me the moment, then what else are you about to give me when I open my legs? What are you really about to give me if you don't even give me the right to my voice? But it's the same way they out here controlling our bodies with every which way. Yeah. I'm not always here as Julissa when people are trying to fuck me. Sometimes I'm just here as whatever picture they saw that made them hard. They're having sex with that one picture that they had of me and whatever fantasy they made up in their head, and have zero fucks about who I am, what I actually want or care about in those moments.
Basically using your body to masturbate.
Right. It'd be masturbation with somebody else.
Go masturbate.
Go masturbate. You did it already. Right. They did it already. You already know. Especially when you're talking about if there's a picture involved, they did it.
Right.
They was in there yanking and spanking.
Right? Trying to act like you're trying to meet up and shit.
Yeah, that's so, oh my gosh, like, ugh. That's so real. Yeah, I just empower, again, I agree, just to piggyback and just round it off. Get your metal detector strong. Get that, aka get that discernment up.
Yeah.
Get it quick. Have patience, and let's return to polygamy, because if there's one, if it's one nigga that's making like somebody like squirt, 9 times out of 10 he can make the 5 of y'all squirt. And why should any other nigga get the opportunity if he's the one that we know? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, like that's some old school ass shit. Yeah, like that's some old school ass shit. But like, I mean.
But it's
does a nigga that makes it squirt not deserve pussy? I don't know. Like, does the dick not deserve? If it does, what it's supposed to give?
Yeah, the one threesome I ever had in my life, and I only ain't have another one because ever since I've saw another one, the dudes are always that's a whole other conversation. There's dudes with a lot of different theories as to why they're not trying to do that. But the one dude who I did do it with, it was because very much that is and has been and still is like the only partner who I had who was like really about it with me and really exploratory and really cared about what it was about. And I happily shared the dick. I happily was like, please fuck me, fuck her, fuck it all. Use your wonderful magical thing. It's not God gave you a gift, sir, and you go spread your motherfucking gift, but be loyal to me. And he always was.
There it is. I'm too whole bitches, so I get to be greedy.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there.
Okay.
No, you hoes can't have none. It's different over here.
I mean, I don't got. Listen, no, I'm the same. Listen, we on the same page. In other
yeah, no, but I feel you.
Want to have fun with me? But see, I said I was there. I ain't say go find pussy. I said
right. Yeah, no, I needed to be same.
You want to have some fun, sure. And that's another thing too about people spicing up their life. Like I still very like whatever. I hate the word cisgender, whatever. I like dickity dick, right? But if part of my exploration has to include a woman at one point, I'm not icky towards that, and I don't think that means oh well, Julissa's a lesbian now, because past that moment I'm not very interested, and I'm going to be honest about that with a woman. But like I am not afraid to have another pussy in the thing, and if you want to lick it and shit, fine. I've eaten pussy before. I don't enjoy doing it, but this all goes back to the submissiveness. Like I'm more submissive, so I'm not really about it, but I'm not afraid of it, which then allowed for me and my partner to have a very awesome moment that we talked about a lot and like opened up our one-on-one sex in a completely different way.
Yeah.
I call that hetero flexibility. It's like I like if what's on my plate, like if you offer me prime rib or pussy, and it's like, okay, why not? But like, no, like, am I gonna go out buying prime rib every day? Fuck no.
No.
Right. Someone puts it on the table, okay, right. And that's really where it begins and ends. And that's I feel like that doesn't really need too much like not exploration, but like definition, because it's like some people say I'm not gay, I'm a little bendy. little bendy.
And I mean, like, honestly, again, like we always say, pansexuality is the mother sexuality. So at the end of the day, we all a little
it's
gay,
a spectrum.
We all a little everything. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if I'm more spaghetti esteemed than I think I am. I just haven't had the experience yet to know it. But even if that moment came, I'm not afraid of that moment. I just really love some dick, unfortunately.
Yeah. It'd be so, what is it? Why? And this is how you know there's shit that you just come here with that you don't ask for. Because fuck, it don't make no sense.
If we had a choice, no one would be attracted to niggas. To think that people would choose dick, and I guess that's why people are homophobic, because like, why? Why would you choose dick? I'm like, we don't know.
Like, we didn't. We did it, bitch. Pity me. Stop hating me, but pity me, because we're the same. You think that you chose dick? Did you choose dick because you have a vagina? No. Because, bitch, free yourself. Otherwise, like, if you like me did not choose dick, then we are one and the same, and all the problems that come with dick are the same.
It's really like the people who are like centralized lesbian who are getting away with the shit. Like that's really
the only ones winning. The white lesbians are winning. Winning in
the
these
white
streets.
Lesbians are fucking winning, bro.
The least stressed out bitches in the world.
They're on a mountaintop in a wraparound like villa, like sipping wine, like
y'all think stressed people that are actually stressed out have the energy to scream through megaphones that often? No. When you're that stressed out, you get 1 day to scream.
Ellen, we love you. No, it's a lie.
You get 1 day to scream when you're actually stressed out and your voice is gone. Yep. When you have the energy to actually activate your technique in order to get this done on multiple days, you are nutted. You are fucking financed. You are chilling. You're chilling. Are you kidding me? Marching? Y'all have the energy to march out in these streets while trying to capitalize? I'm telling you, the white lesbians are winning.edu. Like, fucking check in.
And with that, let's get into our last segment. Let's get into the root. So the root is where we get to the core of the issue that we've been talking about all night. Like, how do we decolonize our sex? So we're gonna do a little try this. So like, if you're a couple, or it's just like the time you want to engage with like someone else on an intimate level. So there are 5 stages of intimacy. We don't agree with all of these, and this is from the lawofattraction.com. So if you guys want to check it out,
which automatically put me on like
well, it's an interesting thing to think about. So there's infatuation, landing, burying, resurfacing, and love. So they describe infatuations that you're obsessed with your partner, you can't get enough of them, you feel that euphoric feeling. Neurological studies show that this is a phase that's similar to being high on heroin. Okay. Landing. At this point, you begin to feel that your partner is a real human being with flaws. They're off the pedestal, and you start adjusting to sharing your life with them. And then there's the burying stage where you start to return outward again, focusing less on the relationship and more on things like planning and organizing, working out, and like working out division of labor in the relationship. And then resurfacing is you begin to reflect again on just how attractive and appealing your partner is, in spite of the fact that they're not perfect. This can be triggered by any bonding event that you experience. And then love, it says you arrive this around the 5th year, and this is the phase where you feel happy, secure, and settled and calm. And these are like revolving stages. Like, well, not revolving, like circulating. And then they recommend things like breathing exercises where you can like and do soul gazing, like, you know, sit and just look in your partner's eyes and see what you get from them. And this depends on where you're trying to get with this person.
Right. This is for like this is like please have in your mind seen yourself married to this person.
Because to squirt, you might need all that. You might not need to have just look in their eyes for a few minutes.
And not everybody could get to squirt and then not stalk a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, you know what I'm saying, are not everyone is as composed and poised.
Like when I caught you playing games on my phone this morning, like you wasn't looking through it.
I was playing games. I was just playing the Lord Joe.
I'm joking. I know.
I'm not looking through the phone because at the end of the day, I'll just cut a bitch. Like, this is not like I don't have anywhere.
Right. Whose phones? You got other snitches. You got snitches.
And hitters. Like, let me stop.
There are two I really like in these practices that I think we're not gonna do now, of course. But like we've kind of done these, and like I feel like couples or anybody trying to achieve a higher level of intimacy could benefit from this. So 15 minutes of tenderness. So it's you can't recreate sexual connection overnight, but you can systematically develop habits that maximize your chances of connecting on all levels. So the idea of 15 minutes of tenderness exercise is that is that it will help you to feel more comfortable about touching your partner and being touched by them. These experiences can become tense and anxious and invoking when your sex life isn't going so well. So you sit down, you look in the same direction, you can choose a position. For example, you can be side by side, or your partner can be standing behind you in your chair. Next, you engage in some kind of soft, gentle touch. It's common to do this exercise, focus on massaging or brushing your partner's hair on their scalp. You can experience it with different approaches to see how you feel most intimate and what satisfies you. You can do this with your partner and have them do it for you, or you can leave gaps between sessions. You want to just, well, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. Me. Anyway.
What you were trying to show?
No.
No?
Yeah. I think like I'm a person who likes, like, I call it feather-like touch, because artists we have to do things like that, because you know, we name things. This is what we create. Because I don't know, like that, like is distinguishable pressure-wise to, like, it means pleasure to me in multiple ways, whereas like I experience like pressure specifically in too many different ways in life. For that to be the most sexual thing for me, even though like there is a pressured embrace that I also like, that comes with a level of like masculinity and like ownership that I fuck with, you know what I'm saying? And I know like people have like issues around ownership and sex, but again, like you got to know what you like. Like, gotta know what you like, and I like to be pwned. I think that, like, 15 minutes of tenderness is always good as an exercise for even having the conversations about where, like, because the tenderness isn't only just like a physical act that you're doing in the moment. It's also about like the allowance for the communication of boundaries in a way that you, as the person doing the touching, can't like combat or resist against, because we have decided to be tender in this space. And in our tenderness, I am indeed trusting you to have my best interest in heart as you touch me. But you should also trust me to know that I at least know what I want enough to be like, not that, and for you to not feel like I'm saying not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I'm glad that you said that way, because I will admit that as a partner, and this goes back to the colonization of my mind and my body, I've never had a dude say that clearly, but I'm sure that there have been moments where I've interpreted a not this as a not you, and it completely has like it's compounded in the way that I show up, because then my brain goes to like, you know, like triage mode, like, all right, well, what do I need to do? Like, I need to, it's me. What do you mean you're not coming? It's me. But you know what I mean? And even that, like, I don't know the value of tantric pleasure for men, because I'm so used to men's full satisfaction coming through full ejaculation. And so when people are, you know, when I am having sex with people, and like if they don't come and they keep insisting it's not me, I promise you there's never been a time where I don't think that they're not lying just to save my feelings because they don't want to hurt me.
Same. As a person who won't tell you when, maybe Patreon, I learn when, you gotta pay for that, when I lost my virginity. Consensually, and but I've been a pro at this for a minute, and in being a pro at things, you know what I'm saying, like when you've studied and like, you know, they're on almost sometimes quite literal paper, you are claimed to have a master's degree in a thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you tell me that what I do is not working, then it is so, and capitalism fucking does this shit literally to our daily lives, even when you're not making money off of the thing, right? It makes the value of me as a person who has internalized myself as a production machine not worthy of your nut. You know what I'm saying? No matter like how you slice it, it's a lot of decolonization that has to go on, not just like self-healing and like therapy and all of that. Literal like taking yourself out of the whiteness bubble to be like, no, actually, just because this nigga didn't come didn't mean that it was my fault. I know personally, if you know, there's people who think who are not in a certain mind space, if they're not thinking about sex before they even get into it, the parts might work, but like the experience is not going to take them to that climax.
Right. Yeah. You know, and it's so funny. I have this one regrettable, like I have this one person who like we were having sex and they couldn't come, and like it was the second time we were having sex. The first time we had sex they came, but they claimed that they didn't, but I remember them coming, but they don't remember coming. And then the second time they couldn't come, and they were like, yeah, I just can't, I don't know, it's something with me. And I'll tell you, I've carried that with me to the point where like toxic motherfucker, don't need to fuck him, and it wasn't like the dick game was so crazy that it's worth running back to, but there is a piece of me who's just like, God, I would do it one more time, even against spirit's will, perhaps, if it meant, because even as I was saying that, I was like, you said what?
Right. Not your people, especially.
Right. I'm like, just to, you know, like, and I think that there's even something for me to investigate in that. And so what does that mean about me and sex and how I want to be? What kind of sex do I want to be having? Like, do I only want to be having sex when men are ejaculating? Is that true? And like, if that is true, then what does that mean? But if that's not true, then like, why am I holding on to that?
I know that for me, I don't know. Can we get this? I mean, it's YouTube, so maybe not. But I know for me, as a person who prefers that I'm with the person with a weak pullout game, from a bottom perspective, the feeling of a nigga coming is really nice.
Yes. When it's consented and you want it. Yes.
Right, when you ask for it. Right.
Oh no, YouTube shut us down. No,
yeah, imagine when you've asked for it. So like there's that part, you know what I'm saying, of the situation beyond the validation and like, you know what I'm saying, the like, you know, the trophy getting aspect that you feel, because, you know, we can't deny that. But again, I feel like even in going into that question, that's that other fucking episode that we need to do where we're breaking down like this motherfucking, the real psychology of like what it means to like have natural sex in a colonial system. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of yucks of yums out here.
Yes.
That
a lot of stigma and shame.
And shame.
Right.
That like I like there's stuff that I'm just like, okay, like no, don't actually have sex with your father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like
that's just good sense. Not shaming you, but like it's probably
it goes into other shit that people can't understand and people don't talk about. So like those go into other layers, energies, and things where it's like, no, there's a reason why.
There's a part
that's not colonial. That comes
exactly. And that's not like, you know what I'm saying, like disturbed or deviant or like, you know what I'm saying, that's like, okay, like that's actually associated to this very like specific thing that like English just like names this.
Right.
And you know, so yeah, again.
Even with the whole Nicki Minaj thing and like there being stigma and shame around not wanting to tell your partner you didn't have an orgasm. And like for women, I know also it comes from a place of safety. Yeah. But that's also wrapped up in the stigma and shame wrapped up in patriarchy in general. The fact that could even be something that could threaten a man.
It's that dick insecurity.
And
I keep trying to tell you, like literally all of cishet sexuality as it stands is based on the insecurity of a nigga's dick. You as a woman having sex with men are concerned about whether this nigga's dick is going to get up for either your own fucking things or their own fucking genetic things going on. You're concerned about this nigga's, you know what I'm saying, like enjoyment of your vagina, and then he's concerned about not even necessarily your enjoyment, but if it just functions in the way that it's supposed to function. Like basically. And then it's like, oh, if they literally will think that, oh, it's just not the right size or shape. it's not the this, it's not the that, it's not the that. They put so much onus on the sexual experience being about the genitals beyond just the genital focus of like needing penetration to call it sex, but literally put the responsibility and onus on the genitals. Oh, our genitals don't match. Oh, this is a vagina that doesn't squirt. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Rather than like, my hips don't move, like my dick needs my hips to move to make this vagina squirt.
Okay. Yep.
I don't have the strength of will to pump as much as I need to pump, or I'm not like, I don't have the strength of leg to stroke for as far as I need to stroke when I got the size, but I can't really get the stroke long because this one wants a long stroke. This one likes to be pumped short. Fuck, I can't do the long stroke on this one. There's so many things that go on, right, in their heads during that they can't, like, they are having that sex. Most men, and I'm calling y'all out. Most men have that sex that you were speaking of when you weren't talking about, you weren't present, and dude was like, "You can touch me." That is the sex most men are having at all times. And it'll take something, I don't know if it'll be which pussy or literally just like how the pussy is physiologically working or whatever, that'll pull them out of it sometimes, but they don't even chase that.
They don't
even chase that. Have we not literally seen niggas be like, yo, fuck you. If you've had witch pussy, I know how far you ran. Like, niggas are like, I'm running away from the pussy that does the things that make me feel the most like I'm enjoying myself.
That's the pussy that's gonna make you be a good man. So he was like, responsibility.
Eric about to fuck the game up.
And they stigmatize witch pussy as, oh, be careful, they gonna put period blood in your sauce. Oh, be careful. But like immediately it's demonized. And I'm like, there's light workers too, right? It's not just, we're not just all dark workers out here. And I think that's why, even if we're gonna talk about witch pussy, like I feel like as a light worker, my continual exploration and decolonization of my sex is for that, is so that my pussy can be that liberating, like life-changing pussy. And that doesn't mean that like every single time you have sex, your life is going to be changed, but that every time you have sex, there is a solace and a safety and a satisfaction to the very least, right? That is coming from a divine place, which is what I'm saying. I show up very divine. I show up scared to really
Scott pussy. That
Winnie
Mandela pussy.
Okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. And but people are running away from it, and people, think it's too much, or they're not ready, or it's like too whatever, or they go back to their colonial default and try to be like, oh, well, she's not really my type because of this or that, and they start to like add on extra shit, and I'm like, that's just you blocking your blessings. Bye.
Okay. Period.
Give me some worthy dick.
Period. And it's so few and far in between. You know what I'm saying? That like some of us hoard it.
Yeah. I'm trying to find one to hoard. I'm trying to find one to hoard. Trust me.
And some of y'all gotta just be okay with sharing.
Yeah.
Cause like it just is what it is. Like I can't imagine. Like I can't imagine a straight nigga with good dick like even having the opportunity to be monogamous. Like once it gets out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the women will come out of the woodworks. That sex partner I was talking about, like, we weren't never in a declared relationship for other reasons, but when we were in moments of trying to have a level of monogamy, baby, it's almost like a bat signal goes out. All these little roaches coming out of everywhere, and I'm like, get the fuck off of my dick. Get up.
Hop off.
Where did you come from? Oh my God.
Fumigating
hoes.
And these motherfuckers. And I just knew, but I knew what they were chasing. Like I knew and I understood, but I was like, not today, bitch.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah. It just be what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody deserves a hoarding moment.
Yeah.
And if you happen to get them first, then you get to hoard them for as long as you can. You know what I'm saying? Like
right. As long as he wants to be hoarded.
Right. And I mean,
like, you don't want me there too. That's when I'm like, all right, but I'm gonna be there or nah, because
right.
I need to supervise.
Okay, so first of all, I'm a teacher hoe.
Right.
You know what? Actually, let's get into these questions for tonight. So in our branching segment, we answer questions from y'all. If you want to like be a part of our weekly question, we have a new one every week. Make sure you follow us on IG at aNvKai. And our first question tonight is from Jael, right? Did I say that? Jaleel.
Yeah.
You know I can't read. So, our question was, I forgot to say what the question was. So the question was, what are your non-negotiables when it comes to sex? What are your must-haves for you to have your optimal like sexual experience? And so we wanted to find out what you were going to say about that. And so Jaleel said protection, foreplay, connection, intimacy, and establishing limits, like what's okay and what's not okay. And yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, we covered that
a lot just now. Like,
you gotta know. You have. I mean, like this. That was a really good question because it's something I hope, like, even for those that didn't get the opportunity to answer, or those whose answers are not showing up, like that it sent you into just like really thinking, and that you didn't like just shout the first thing that you thought we'd want to hear, or shout the first thing that made sense. You know, like I hope you just sat there and was like, "Fuck! Like, what are my actual must-haves? Like, must-haves. You know what I'm saying? Like." Protection means a bunch of things, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely, you know what I'm saying? Make sure niggas are prepped up, condomed up, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Protection means to you on the physical, but have you explored and are you also talking about the thing that means you actually feel safe in that space, as we were saying, you know?
Mm-hmm. I've heard on the streets niggas not trying to do foreplay no more. Like,
okay.
What is foreplay? Is foreplay head?
Some nice like petting, some like, you know, maybe like some massage, some licking, some like, you know, like that exploratory time, touching, like some head it can be included.
I know for me sometimes, like after the nigga busts the second nut, that's when I get to thinking that the dick is particularly delectable looking. And I want to get into that kind of thing. I like mid play, I guess. Like it's my kind of shit. It's like stick it the fuck in, let's go,
right?
And then we could get like and then go again, and then finish off with some more and then go to sleep like that.
And I
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think what Pat was describing for me is more the foreplay, because that the mid play you're talking about, I'm also about that life, but to me that's like the mid play for like, all right, are we gonna give it another go? Like it's like the tease of like we gonna go again, or we gonna go to sleep, but like we're going to sleep in the energy of what had just happened. But I think maybe this also has to do with how women orgasm. It's like that helps. Actually, that helps the swelling of those glands that are inside that they were talking about. That foreplay, that's not just me sucking your dick, or not just you eating my pussy either. Like there's something like if you do other things before eating my pussy, by the time your tongue touches clit, I'm in a whole different space.
I feel you. I guess I never actually in my mind considered like the cuddling and like kissing like foreplay, because it's like we make out anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like we cuddle anyway.
For couples, I can see that as somebody who hasn't been in an actual relationship since I was like 21 years old, 10 years ago. Like I don't actually have that guarantee. So when it happens, it feels like a foreplay because it's not required because they're not my man.
They're not there all the time. Yeah, I feel that. Okay, I feel that.
Our next question, answer was, so head, eye contact, attentiveness. Wasn't that a song by Monica?
That's not what she said. I'm dead. Head, yes. I mean, yeah. I really think, like, I'm sorry, man. Y'all have to be giving more head.
They rarely do, and the ones who do are gems. You know, and some of the ones who do and don't like it, you could tell. Like to me, it's like if you don't like eating, I always ask, do you like eating pussy? Because if they're like, oh, I do it sometimes, I'm already like, don't even waste my time.
Go suck at it, please. Don't me. No, like you don't like women. No, you can't. You can't.
I don't understand. I don't understand how you say you like something and don't want to put your mouth on it. Sorry.
Right.
And it literally it don't compute to me.
Yeah.
See, listen, hearing high school boys in like my gym locker room talk about how like some girl asked them to do that, and it was like, nah, fuck that, that's nasty. I'm like, and you in here with a bunch of niggas shirtless. Look at that.
Right.
Look at
Mad comfortable as fuck.
And I'm just like, I just shake my head. I can't even I don't have the energy to advise the youth about how astray they're being led.
Yeah.
But older grown men being like, oh, you don't got to do that. All you got to do, teach them how to play mind games with a bitch instead of just saying, well, maybe you should indulge her a little more. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
But
to know that there's a whole generation, not even generation, a whole age group of millennials even that don't know what the shocker is.
Mm-hmm.
That's y'all are not trying at all. Y'all not trying at all. You telling me by your 5th experience you didn't get a shocker? No. Somebody never gave you the shocker? No. That was one of the first things I seen at the orgy at the co-ed orgy. Was somebody just put boom, 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 shock. I was like, oh, the shocker. On the inside, I didn't scream it. I was at the orgy, the shocker, imagine. I was like, oh, niggas are really doing the shocker. And
I've never
hear about people getting shocked.
I've never had that.
People are just not trying things. You know what I'm saying? People are not to me, it's you're supposed to have fun. There's a thing, of course, there's a thing that you like, but flick the nipple once and see. And if you know what I'm saying, and if she's like, bitch, you know what I'm saying, then you know what it is. But it's ooh.
Yeah.
Then you know what. Then you also now know what it is. You might not have never thought of flicking as sexual, but try something, my nigga.
Yeah, but they don't. But they don't even try with themselves. It's not. You're talking about a group of people who are limited to masturbation with their hand, and then when they get out to a world of women who also have not been taught to know what they want, or whatever, it's a guessing game. Straight people are running around here guessing. And the ones who aren't guessing had to learn something and educate themselves and do the research. And they did that because they realized it was walking around not really getting into much of anything. I've never...
them people on Real Sex. If you watch Real Sex as a kid, you are a kindred tribe. You know what's going on.
And you probably led the sexual revolution of whatever institution you were around. You know what I'm saying? You probably helped other hoes. You probably still doing it. You probably watching this show.
Real. Yeah, anal play in women is a whole other thing. I when everybody was like, oh, eating booties like groceries, I've never had a pleasurable salad tossing. I've never been pleased. And it's not that I've not had people who are ew, I'm a tribe because I've never asked, and people who volunteered because they're into it and they've been in it, and I'm either you don't know what you're doing or this just ain't really my thing.
I will agree in that not everybody it took a while.
Okay. All right, that makes me feel better because sometimes I'm like, damn, bitch.
Yeah.
I feel like there's certain. I mean, I don't know from vagina, but there's certain things about the ass that that is asking for specifically that if they're eating it it's vagina, I doubt it's the same things that you need.
But some of them niggas didn't even eat vagina right to begin with, so they're already fucked up.
So many men don't know how to eat pussy. So many men don't know. They just
there's an actual I know at least with eating ass, again, I don't know from vagina, so we can correct this if it's wrong. But I know with ass, there's an incentive to have the tongue actually go inside.
I like when they eat my pussy too. I think dudes fear that a lot, by the way. So that's part of.
Oh, then I mean, if it's I guess a tentacle.
Yes.
Thing where it's when they can get inside and then widen and flap and do that, it's that is the shit.
Yeah.
But all of that flicking on the outside and all of that just you know what I'm saying, all that just sucking the hole and licking the outside. Yeah.
I just feel saliva dripping down, the clap.
You're not even really feeling it. Yeah, you're not even actually feeling the thing when they do that. It's not nothing's actually
on my asshole.
Right. You might as well just hack, right? Pull it a day and put it in. Fuck out of here. Now
I should not. I just won't.
What's this last question, baby?
And we have one from the comments from Jelani from earlier.
Okay.
But consensual Uninhibition. Yes, I said it.
Yes.
Consensual uninhibition.
Lawless. Lawless is the producer of the track that is our theme song. So shout out Lawless. And the producer of most of the tracks on the aNvKai Genesis. Go peep that where everything is streaming. So yeah, that is a lot, Steph. That's a lot.
You gotta have a safe word,
and I think
when you have a safe word, there's a level of inhibition, like habituation, that you're putting on that because, like, we need something to check out. Like if I'm dying,
that's what I was going to say, because then the lines get blurred after a while.
But okay, but then like, and this is Aquarius, so forgive me for going so hard. If somebody was becoming unalived during sex, and you were like, "Yo, you about to be unalived," and they were like, "Continue."
Would you?
Is that included in the inhibitions? You know what I'm saying? Because like, is it murderer? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I Kevorkianing you right now? Like, what is going on? But like, when I think,
my mind is blown.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I think like sexual inhibitions, you know, most people are just like, oh, like if we say, can I say, hey, can I do anything I want? And you're like, sure. Like 9 times out of 10, like what most men would be like, I'm gonna stick something up your butt, right? So, you know, that's
even if I'm dying,
thinking.
Don't stop. Like, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is that like something? You know, what exactly are we talking about here in the first place? And then, I think.
I'm only laughing because it's making me nervous. Not that I'm laughing at the question, Lola. It's like I think it's really
it's
just like, oh shit, the shit that this could mean. That's kind of scary.
But Lola's makes the kind of music that makes me do that, you know. So yeah, so I'm just like consensual inhibition, like because like I feel like the only way to actually effectively do that is to really have the conversation about what it is inhibition means to you and where your cap is.
Yeah,
because like
because I don't want somebody shitting on my chest ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and there's people who are into that. No, but I say that extreme example as something
Alabama hot pocket.
And so because it is a thing, and I respect that people appreciate that. If you want to have sex with me, but you need that, I can't give that to you. I'm sorry, in no world.
Right. So it's like, because that begs the other question, like, is when you say, hey, like, I just want to have your consent to be uninhibited. Again, it's not the question. I'm trying to figure out how to approach literally that. I think like in a relationship, you build to that, hopefully, right? If you're in a relationship with a person that you're with, you build to that level where it's like, you know, at some point, there'll still come with a warning if you feel like scatting on my fucking chest in a moment, that I can consent to not happening. You know, but yeah, like to come up to somebody and be like, hey, can I consent to being uninhibited? And they say, sure. And then you just like
Alabama
automatically
just turn around and
automatically Alabama hot pocket a hole.
Look it up. We can't tell you.
Don't look it up. Do not look it up. Just know that the pretend violence that I just ensued is worth it. Do not look up Alabama hot pocket. Save yourself. I'm here to save Black people and people of color alike. Do not do it. White people, y'all did this, so by all means indulge and go Google. Because my God, are you Googling
right now?
Oh my God.
All right.
You poor child. Your poor soul.
Yes.
That's unhealthy and damaging. That's damaging. That's like
that was so Dominican. You said it so. It was like that's
ain't no Yanni spoon for that. That's
I'm like, do y'all not? Like, okay, like I'm like this shows that y'all not even checking y'all pH balance, let alone anything else going on in your vagine to be okay with somebody taking
and then not carry on, because in the definition is like, and then you carry on. It's not just it happens. So you getting bacteria in my gut? Hell no.
Right.
Hell no.
It's an absolutely not for me. And if you and that's just what we're saying. Like, yes, because like, oh my God, I understand the amount. And again, we have to fucking get into this. We might have to do, if y'all have the time, we might have to get into this extra like conversation that'll probably just go on the Patreon about the psychology, because I want to break down, you know what I'm saying? Like, what even creates the inhibitions in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Like, for us to even ask that question. And then I can relate to like the feeling, the exhale that you're looking for, Lawless, you know what I'm saying, in like just like the consensual uninhibitedness, you know what I'm saying, just like I feel it in the thought of just like not having to worry about whether or not what you do will be taken well. Yes. I understand that. So yes, getting there in this paradigm takes a lot more like inhibitedness in order to like come to that conclusion and understanding where we can mutually say like, this is where we're going. Right. In order to get there, that might not have happened might not have been necessary pre-colonialism, that we gotta fucking get into. We just don't got the time.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into this last question from Jelani from earlier. So how do you stop someone from feeling sensitive about setting boundaries with them, is what they meant to say.
Say that one more time.
So how do you, he didn't write it correctly. Well, they didn't write it correctly, but how do you get someone to stop feeling sensitive about setting boundaries with them?
To me, I mean, like for me, it's like, if you're sensitive off cuff, it's not even my job to try to, like, it's my job to ask myself, is this somebody who I think deserves to be all up in this pussy? Like, I gotta like make you unsensitive. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I think a conversation, sure. It's like, all right, well, I see you're sensitive. Your sensitivity boggles me a little bit because I'm only putting this forth because it matters. And it's the way that I am going to have pleasure with you. Now, do you care that I'm having pleasure with you or not? Because if you don't, then I need to ask myself if I want to be having sex with you. Because it's not my job to try to sensitize people to shit. Either you're desensitized, but you're willing to meet me where I'm at, or you're not.
True that. All you can do is make them aware and then make a decision from there.
That's bars.
I've been bars. I've been freestyling on you hoes all episode. Yeah, and to answer the flip idea of how it was worded, just in case there are people who are experiencing that, like they're having difficulties setting boundaries, and being sensitive about that. This is gonna almost sound a little bit opposite to what we say, but you have to like there is a point where you are center, and you have to center yourself, and that doesn't mean that you are being individualistic, right? It means that you know that at the end of the day, like you can't even give onto your community if certain things are not met for you. Right. And you sacrificing not getting those things met, you know what I'm saying? You sacrificing getting those things met is not at the benefit of the community. And we are taught through capitalism and colonialism that it is. We do it all the time. As Black people, we kill little parts of ourselves to go to work every day. We kill little parts of ourselves to make art every day. Mm-hmm. We kill little parts of ourselves to communicate with each other every day because of how much whiteness is still seeped in with each other, let alone having to fucking communicate with white people, you know what I'm saying, and all the things that we need to communicate with them for. We get used to that vibration, and like at the very least, when it comes to sex, you should at least be seeking to not have it enter your sex life. Like, oh my God, the secrecy, right? Like, again, like what we're talking about, like all that stuff, like the sneaky links that y'all and the DL culture that I spoke of on the Sound Off, I believe.
Yeah, check out the Sound Off, y'all.
It's all steeped in the same cis heteronormativity that has women not orgasming at a similar, at the very least, rate that cis men do. And it's at the same core of why we take femmes and the receptive, if you will, component of the sexual experience, accept abuse and call it something else in the moment, because everything about sexuality in this paradigm is based on secrecy.
Yeah. Everything, including people who want to fuck you and keep you a secret, because they are having their sexual pleasure. And it's like, yes, DL culture, like that's the DL culture, but even in the cis culture, like as a woman, outside of the relationship I had when I was like 19, and the dude who I was saying is like a solid sexual partner, like everybody has hit me.
Mm.
Everyone has hit me.
Yeah, there's always been this sneaky link culture. I think like now because of social media, people are like giving it a name, but there's always been like, oh yeah, that's just that.
Or maybe not, and I don't think always, but at least throughout colonial history.
And the reasons, like, I know cis like straight men that do that, and it's like the reasons vary. They always reek of patriarchal bullshit, so I wouldn't even bother to explain some of the inventions that some of these niggas come up with.
I'll generalize it because it is true for at least 7 things. But for you to continue, it's the idea that sex is degradative and erosive that like starts all of that, and that's Western and patriarchal as fuck, But continue. Sorry.
But also just like some men do it for this reason, and don't find this endearing, ladies. It's also gross, patriarchal, and possessive. But like, I keep my finest bitches off to the side so no one knows. Like that's my most prized collection. Like they go down into the fucking gallery, and it's like, oh no one knows about this bitch because this is the bitch that like I'm gonna marry, but I'm not ready to marry right now because I'm like being like freaking and fucking. But I'm like, you expect this bitch to wait to like, but then this is how you end up with niggas like Drake. They'll cry about like, oh, but she had to go and get married. But like, son, you really wanted her to wait 10 years while you sowed your wild oats, and then she just like, what? And be mad, but we'll be legit mad.
Be really upset.
We'll be mad.
Yeah.
And then we'll marry the people, and then we'll marry the people they would never do the sexual things that they want to do with. And it's really, again, I feel like that's based on this degradation that men are associate their penis with. Again, all this penis insecurity is like, my penis is built for destruction, right? Which is like, that's like, just in and of itself, it's like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel? How do you then like build an identity around that? You know what I'm saying? Besides like, oh, like my shit is like essentially to be disruptive and to do like all these things that nobody wants me to do, essentially, because no one wants destruction anyway. But we was watching something in Modern Family, and they there was a scene where they were like role playing, and they went out to this hotel, and he had like said something to Phil had said something to Claire that she didn't like about why he was there and not with his wife, because he was still playing a married man, which I'm like, oh, that's dangerous. Like, that's automatically like trying to get into conversations about your relationship that was not the point. You know what I'm saying? But okay. So they did that. He said something that was triggering to the actual relationship. And then he got it together. It was like, can we start over? And she was like, okay, fine. And then she repeated the thing. She's like, why aren't you with your wife? And he goes, because I respect her too much to do the things that I'm about to do to you. And she was like, that was it. And it was sexy as fuck to her. And I'm like, bitch, okay, so if he's about to do some things that you've never seen done, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he's literally about to shock you.
Right. Why you ain't been doing it? How many kids we got?
Y'all got mad kids. And he's about to shock your system is what he's saying to you right now.
Right.
And if that happens.
And where did you pick up these tricks from, my nigga?
You know
if you
what I'm
wasn't
saying?
practicing them on me, where did you amass these skills? But questions, choices.
So I'm like, holy crap, like, I don't know. I'm the kind of wife that I need you to respect me enough to destroy me as you see fit.
But yeah, niggas I can't marry the girl that I've been slutting out. And I'm just like, but if you constantly want to slut her out on a regular basis, why not?
You ain't been in your bed. Yeah. You ain't been in your bed for 3 days slutting this girl out.
What?
While your wife is at home, probably waiting to be slutted out, but like you put her on this like weird puritanical pedestal.
but then want to get mad if you see that she want a booty rub massage. That's been the thing I've been seeing lately, guys being like, oh, would you let your girl get this kind of massage? Well, then you do it. You rub my booty with some oil and grab up on it and hug me and rub my back and like you do it.
As much happy endings as y'all be getting.
I've seen that shit on Instagram. They was like, oh, a full release is definitely included in that shit. She gonna squirt and cream tonight, fellas. And it wasn't not because she couldn't.
And no see no shade. I haven't had a full release massage. But nonetheless, my mind as a person thinking about getting a massage is like, all of this shit is a muscle. And if it's contributing to your stress, like, are we here to do the thing or are we not here to do this?
No justification. But yeah, we're cutting it close to the long mark. I think we should wrap this up tonight. If y'all have time, we can continue this for the Patreon. Do a little something. But why do I always hold my phone up since I'm about to do this? We want to give a shout out to our latest patrons that joined on our branch tier, and we have. Can you say this for me? I can't. It's a shame that I teach reading, and I practice this, and now I can't read it.
I'm sorry, y'all. If I destroy this. Shamsuddin Adedeji.
Yes. And on our trunk tiers, Jonathan Smith, 2 names that couldn't be more different. But that's the aNvKai tree. And that's why I love it here.
Mm-hmm. And we appreciate the opportunity to say your name correctly. So if you find us on IG, please voice memo us.
Yes. And thank you so much for joining us on Patreon. We have exclusive behind the scenes content. We have our after show there. I have this segment now we have that called Crafty Queens, where I'll show you how I made the dress for our promo shoot. We're going to have some exclusive music up there soon by Jip Jack and maybe some Jack Fuller stuff too. So yeah, there's already a lot going on the Patreon that y'all could be checking out. You get merch. We have like exclusive merch that you can get from us. We have mugs.
Yes, I'm about to order my mug. Yes.
And
the mug is popping. And the tote. Oh, yeah. I'm about to be out here.
Like, I didn't know y'all had merch.
We got merch, girl.
Check us out on Patreon. And the lowest here is $3, so we're not trying to put y'all out. Like, you can still get.
We know what it is. We did the reading for the year. We know what it is.
We know what it is. So make sure you check us out there and follow us on social media. We're available wherever podcasts are streaming. Oh, wrong button. I knew I was going to do that. Make sure you check out the podcast audio streaming and video streaming now on Anchor. .fm/aNvKai. So we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And thank y'all for sitting with us tonight. Thank you, Julissa, for being our guest once again. Had such a great time.
Thank y'all.
And
yeah, we're out. Peace. I know I used to see in the fashion law. She was from my brother.